Hi.
Hello, Aviva. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too. Thank you. My question is actually directly related to Johan's question about time and space, but more from a personal perspective. I'm trying to understand what time and space is, or what the experience is, because I can't seem to experience anything but now. And even now feels relative to concepts of past and future, but they're all in the concept. They're not ever in my experience.
But can I pause you there just for a minute?
Yeah.
And then you can come back. The experience of now, your current experience, is not relative to a past and the future.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's not. Sorry, I thought you said it was relative.
No, I'm saying that even the word now is not an experience, it's a concept.
Exactly. If we believe, as the finite mind tends to, that time is real, then the now is a moment on the line of time at which the current experience is taking place. So the now is just a fraction of a moment on this vast line of time. It's the time when the current experience is present. Now, that's an interpretation of the experience of now that is fitted into the framework of time. Now, take away time, and the now is no longer a moment, because there is no longer a moment for it to be, there is no longer a line of time for it to be a moment within. So the now is then revealed as eternity. So the now has two meanings. In reality, or we could say from the perspective of awareness, now is eternity, not the everlasting, the ever-present. Whereas from the point of view of the mind, the now is a moment.
Yeah, that maps onto my experience exactly.
Yes.
The concept of continuity is somehow slipping me up in a way.
The continuity is eternity filtered through the limitations of the mind. Continuity is, we could say, continuity is what the ever-present looks like when viewed through the limitations of the mind. In other words, the ever-present appears as the everlasting when viewed through the narrow slit of the mind.
So it's still a conceptual framework that is trying to be fit onto an experience that
yes.
I can't quite grasp with my mind.
Yes, but the mind's idea of continuity is not completely untrue. The mind has intuited there is something that is, quote, continuous. There is something that remains. There is something that is constant. Everything is changing. But the mind realizes, no, it's the statement everything changes doesn't account for my experience. But there is something that is continuous. Now, the mind calls it continuous because it has this presumption of time. Therefore, its intuition that there is something that doesn't change is filtered through its belief, its presumption of time. Now, really, the continuity is not something that lasts in time. It is the ever-present. It is the eternal. But the mind doesn't know that. So the continuity is a mixture of eternity plus the mind's limitations. In other words, there is something true in the idea of continuity. It's just filtered through the limitations of the mind.
It's the mind's recognition that change could could be an illusion or something.
No, it's the mind's recognition that there is something in its experience that is, quote, continuous. It's not really continuous, it's ever-present, but the mind cannot know the ever-present because everything that it knows takes place in time. So what the mind calls continuity is in fact eternity. But or the ever-present, but the mind adds an assumption to eternity and stretches it out in time. And therefore it speaks of permanence or continuity. There is a hint of truth in the idea of permanence or continuity. But those ideas are truth filtered through the limitations of the mind.
Yeah, it feels like it's as far as my mind could reach when approaching.
Exactly. Your mind gets to reaches a limit. You've taken, in exploring this, your mind has taken itself to a limit. And it knows that it hasn't quite reached the understanding that it wants to reach. It has an intuition of it, but it can't get past the idea of continuity into eternity. Why not? Because the mind superimposes its own limitations on everything that it knows. Therefore, to take the transition from continuity to eternity, the mind must be divested of its limitations. The mind must cease. It's like the moth that desires the flame. It comes to the flame and then it realizes, to touch the flame, I must die. I cannot experience the flame as a moth. It's the same, that the mind has this intuition. There is something that is, in its own language, continuous. Now, you're pushing. What is continuous? The mind is trying. What is continuity? Because I know there is no time. So therefore, what is continuity? The mind has brought itself to a precipice, but it cannot survive going any further. You will survive. You, awareness, will survive it. So eternity is known by awareness, but it cannot be known by the finite mind.
I am the flame.
You are the flame, exactly. You are the flame, yes. But the mind cannot know that, because everything that the mind knows is filtered through its limitations. The mind must cease to be mind, limited mind, in order for you to know your reality as the eternal. This is what's called dying before you die. It's the mystical death that the apparently separate self must go through.
Well, there is also the knowing of that moth's dance.
The moth cannot know its own death. It's not.
Not the death, the dance, the coming towards.
Yes, exactly. You can bring your mind again to the precipice, and then you can think, "Oh no, I don't want to go any further because I'll die." If and this is the dance. The moth, all the moth wants is the flame. It sees the flame from afar, and it is attracted to it. And as long as the flame is at a distance, the moth entertains romantic notions of having a relationship with the flame. That's fine until it gets about 3 inches away, and then it realizes, no, I cannot have a romantic relationship with the flame. The only real relationship I can have with the flame is to die into it. So the mind does this dance, exploring continuity. No, I don't want to go over that precipice. I'll just go back to my room and think about it and read about it. And then exploring permanence and bringing itself to that edge, and the same, exploring love, bringing itself to that edge. And then, but at some stage, the mind gets gets tired of this dance and says, no, I want to experience eternity or love, and that gives you the courage to let go of the mind.
But even once the moth is consumed by the flame, time still takes place in
For whom?
the same.
For whom?
For no one, but it's still there.
No, but time cannot take place for no one, because time is only experienced from the perspective of someone. In the absence of someone, there is no appearance of time. You can't say that once King Lear, once the play is over, the war with the English continue to be at war with the French. No, they are only at war with the French during the play. When the play is over, there is no war with the French. I'm talking about the play of King Lear. So no, even during the presence of the separate self, there is no real experience of time, but time seems to be real from the perspective of not the separate self, the finite mind.
Okay. Thank you.
Nice to see you again, Abhi.